Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 135 of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone, and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, as unusual, Electric Sheep City. It's great to be back on this beautiful Friday evening here in the Denver, Colorado area. You may notice I don't sound like Nate. Nate is out this week because he is at a work Christmas party. So he'll be with us in spirit and with dramatic readings throughout. But until then, I am joined tonight by two of my favorite people, starting with Hydralisk. Hydra, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks, Sheep. I'm glad it's super beautiful where you are because it's drizzly, cold, and rainy and miserable here. But yeah, that's great. Colorado, I wish I lived there. I almost moved there once. Didn't happen. But thank you so much. It's great to be back. We were off last week. It always feels weird when we take our week off. Nate's going to feel real weird when he gets back. 2 weeks. But sad that he's not here. But we have an absolutely amazing guest this week. Sheep, tell us who it is.
Absolutely. So also joining us this week, we have our friend Dan0. Dan0 is a co-host of Squelch, another Hearthstone podcast. We often invoke their motto, Hearthstone is a game, and games are supposed to be fun. The O in Dan0 is a 0 because he's cool. So, welcome to the show, Dan0.
Thank you so much. I am super excited to be here, and I just can't put into words. And a little bit nervous, I guess. But I'm just crazy excited. This is great. I'm also like really excited to be on a podcast. I don't have to edit later. Like I can just like walk away when we're done, and then it's like not my problem. I'm so excited. It just feels good. I'm already relaxed. It's wonderful.
Yeah, all I do is upload it, and then Nate has to edit it, so I'm done too. So Dan0, we ask everyone who guests here at Born to be Wild, how did you get your username?
It's really, really exciting. So my name is Dan.
Wow.
And my father calls me Dan0.
Uh-huh.
And so I was when I downloaded Hearthstone for the first time, I was at our lake cabin. This was years and years ago. It was like a rainy day or something. And I was like, I need a name. And I was like, Dan0. And I was like, wait, but Dan0's not cool. How can I make it more cool? I know. I'll make the O a 0 because adding numbers to where letters are supposed to be makes it cool. So that's Dan0 with the 0 because I'm cool. It's a really quite lame way to get a name. I every week I'm like, oh, a better name would be this or this, but I'm Dan0 now, so it is what it is.
I mean, you're committed at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean it's on a lot of audio, so no changing it now.
You could always change it and just be the podcaster formerly known as Dan0.
I do live in Minneapolis, so it'd be very Prince of me, right? Like, yeah, I could, but like Prince was a true artist, and I'm just a goofball with a microphone. So like, it's I don't know if I would be okay with that.
I resemble that remark. So, Dan0, you're known, of course, around the Hearthstone community as I don't know where I was going with that, but you're known around the Hearthstone community. You're also been playing Wild lately. What draws you or has drawn you into our Wild format of this here game of Hearthstone?
Yeah, so I play mostly standard and duels, right? I think probably, if anyone knows me, it's like the guy who plays slow decks and standard and loves duels to a fault.
It's nice to hear someone talk about duels, by the way, because it's not represented basically at all. So when you do, I always appreciate it.
It was in Thrallmund. I was like hard on duels when it first came out. I was like, this is a bust. And then Thrallmund was like, no, friend. Duels is amazing and you're wrong. And so he was right. It's my favorite way to play Hearthstone most times. I play a lot of duels. I love it, both heroic and casual. Super fun. But how did I get into Wild? Actually, I was looking for a way to start streaming again, as weird as it sounds. I streamed a lot of standard, a little pre-pandemic and then some pandemic. We moved into a new apartment. It was harder to stream. And so I kind of got off the wagon a little bit. Plus, I had a ton of anxiety while streaming standard because I was like playing good decks and competitive decks. And, you know, when you stream competitive decks, when you goof up, people kind of call you on it. And so I was like,
do.
no.
Twitch chat.
No, right? And
They're
it's
ruthless.
Fine. It's part of the fun, right? It's part of the fun of like the back and forth of Twitch chat. That's why Twitch is successful, is that back and forth, right? That's like this where like the connection is made between like the viewer and the streamer. It's super cool and great. But like I got all of the anxiety. And so like trying to stream like meta decks, it was just brutal. And I was like, there is something I love, and I love Cthulhu. Cthulhu lives in Wild. I can go just play Cthulhu in Wild. I don't care if I win or lose in Wild. No offense. I know it's the Wild podcast. But like there's no anxiety for me. I could lose 10 straight in Wild. I'm kind of like, hey, no big deal. Like standards where I go to do most of my climbing anyways, so it'll just be fun. And so I started playing a little bit of Wild, doing that. And I play a little. I'll play some of like the decks that you guys share in your Discord. But mostly it was to kind of come back and stream a little bit again and kind of dip my toe back in that like once a week or something and stream some Cthulhu, which was one of my all-time favorite things in the world, really.
I mean, that was genius of Hearthstone at the time. Let's give everybody this legendary in this expansion. Boom. There you go. It doesn't matter what class you're playing with. I mean, it kind of did, but if you had a favorite class, just pick it, throw it in. All the support cards, most of them were neutral. Then they had some class specific ones, and yeah, it was genius.
A ton of fun, and the whole package, right? Like there was like here's the package of neutral cards and Cthulhu the legendary minion. It was like here, free, have fun, go play Cthulhu. It was great. I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
So what specifically like drew you to Cthulhu in particular? Because I mean, Cthulhu is awesome. I know I've always loved playing Cthulhu, but what resonates with you about Cthulhu?
So Cthulhu is like the Cthulhu archetype, really. Like what Cthulhu does is like my favorite way to play Hearthstone. A kind of slow game, not super slow. I want to do stuff still. I don't want to just like only remove stuff from the board. But that's not gonna be fun as well. Like a slower game where I'm slowly building up towards a big finisher. It's kind of how I like to play Hearthstone. So like I like to play big janky decks with weird win cons, not necessarily combo decks, but like just weird decks, right? Like big weird mage decks, big weird control shaman type stuff. I like kind of playing slower games. I don't like playing super aggressive. Again, it's just too much anxiety to play aggressive decks. So playing a slower game plan while also kind of playing a mid-range kind of single here's the plan. I want to get from A to B. How do I get to B? And then Cthulhu is the big B, right? And so it's a fun way to play the game. It's not like crazy, like you don't have to do a whole ton of math while doing it. You don't have to like plan your turns out 4 or 5 turns in advance. It's like, hey, I need to buff my Cthulhu. How do I buff my Cthulhu? Okay, I'm gonna do it this and this, and how do I stay alive to get to the crazy Cthulhu pop-off turn, right? And so that's kind of just slow thing to do. A big dumb finisher is kind of my way to play Hearthstone, and Cthulhu does that as well as I think any card. Until probably Sire Denathrius, which basically every minion became a Cthulhu minion, and that was Sire Denathrius, right? And so, basically, it's just the new Cthulhu. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun, just a ton of fun.
When I would listen to Squelch, I would hear every once in a while you talk about cartoon this, cartoon that, and I was like, what the heck is he talking about? Right? Like. And then it just like dawned on me after a while. I'm like, oh my god, he's talking about Cthulhu.
Cartoon.
Disciple of Cthulhu, the 3-mana 2/1 that does battle cry, deal 2 damage, comes in and says cartoon. And so
I love that card.
Yep, me too. It's a fun one. But yeah, I played a little Cthulhu. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Cthulhu Druid when I played a lot of Cthulhu Druid when it first came out. It was my first time I was ever really competitive in Hearthstone was with Cthulhu Druid. Then Cthulhu Rogue became a thing. It was like a dev or someone was like, hey, I've been playing this Cthulhu Rogue. And then I took that and like ran with it and fell in love with that deck when it was in standard, when it was like initial rotation of Cthulhu, and I just played a ton of Cthulhu Rogue. And so like getting the chance to like build out a new Cthulhu Rogue has been maybe the most fun I've had in Hearthstone in like a really long time, actually. Like it's been well over a year, maybe even two, since I built my own deck. Really, I've just kind of play meta decks usually, or take some other people's like jank deck and kind of modify it slightly. But with this Cthulhu deck, I was like, okay, how do I start? So I went to the Tempo Storm Wild meta report and was like, okay, how can I take a rogue deck and make it Cthulhu rogue? And started there, and then had to throw away about a third of that because it didn't work. And put in draw cards and got something that kind of works. I mean, it works at like really very casual wild, but I mean, it kind of works. So, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you sent a screenshot earlier where you had like an 86 damage Cthulhu or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, when it works, I guess.
So that was cheating. So what they did was they Mutinous ate I got 2 Cthulhu's off of so I did the Polkel into Mimic Pod. So I drew 2 Cthulhu's to protect against the being eaten, and one got eaten, and then just giant Mutinous, and I was like, I got a bit of Cthulhu here, so I ate it, and that was that. They had an ice block up, but I have Shadow Steps, so it was not a big deal, right? I'll pop your block, and then I'll just put Cthulhu back in my hand, and we'll do this all over again.
Another one.
Yep.
That's amazing. Yeah, when Cthulhu first hit standard, I was one of those people that only played the class they introduced you to for the longest time. I played Mage, and that was it. And Cthulhu hit standard, and I was like, oh, let's put that on my deck. And then I put all the Cthulhu cards in, and I played Cthulhu Mage straight and only. It wasn't even a good deck, but I ended up I got my golden Mage 500 wins playing a Cthulhu Mage deck, which there's no way I was over 50% win rate. At the time, if I hit rank 15, I was lucky.
With the 3/2, right? The 3/2 with plus 1 spell power that does every.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that one.
I got those in gold, and I'm like, oh, these are so cool, right? So like, I am playing this, and I had Twin Emperor, and I was like, that's so cool, 2 for 1. Like, I'm down. Doom Call, this thing's awesome. Yeah, like it was not a great deck at the time, especially Mage. Like, but got me some 500 wins with it though.
That's the way to do it. Yeah. I do have to point out. I had to point out the Bone Lord Frost Whisperer in the Cthulhu rogue list. Mad at Arms it was Mad at Arms' idea to put it in there, and it was pure genius. It's basically the win condition now is just get Frost Whisperer down, kill that, and then you have your free Cthulhu, and then you get to do crazy rogue things with a free Cthulhu. So like 3 Cthulhu's in 1 turn is normal. Because you have Cthulhu. And then you Tenwu, then you brand Cthulhu. It's 3 Cthulhu's. And it's super simple little combo. And it's just so great. And it's like, yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
You expected the first Cthulhu, but not the second or third Cthulhu, just like tendrils so going everywhere. That's incredible.
I love it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that was the end of the questions that I had. Do you have any other questions as well, Hydra?
It's not just a question really in general, but I would just like to thank you and your crew over there at Squelch for reminding us that the game is supposed to be fun, to be honest. I enjoy that aspect of your guys' show very much. So thank you.
No, you're welcome, and it means so much for you guys to bring that up. I'll be honest, like part of the reason that when my super close friend Magooch and I started Squelch, part of the problem that we had was like when you get super into a community, right? Like the first things that you kind of do is you find all the negatives, right? It's so easy to see all the little holes and everything that's not perfect and imperfect, and then just to get mad, right? And I found myself getting into that spot, and it was like, you know what, let's do a fun Hearthstone podcast that's most about positive things. Let's not have it be always like, oh, this is bad and this is bad and this is a bummer. Let's try to be positive. And this crazy thing happened on this way of finding the positivity in the game. The game became more fun. Like I had more fun in the game than I ever had before the podcast because like part of the podcast became finding the fun in the game and like thinking about the fun and dwelling on the fun versus like dwelling on the negative. And I can be a negative person. If you go over to our Discord, you can see that there are times I'm just like, I can kind of pop off on stuff a little bit, but I'm just so much more positive about the game. I enjoy the game so much more because like part of like what I get to do every week is go and talk about a thing that is fun. And if it's not fun, maybe take a little break. That's one, it's like, okay, I'm just not gonna play tonight because I'm not having fun. Why am I doing this? And yeah, it really, it makes me happy to hear other people that kind of resonates with them because it changed my relationship with the game and with a lot of games, actually, a lot of computer games where it was like, why am I doing this thing that I don't like? and just try to remind myself that I'm doing this for the fun of it, right? And matters. And so thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, that positivity definitely emanates throughout everything. I mean, there's a reason why I actually hang out in the Squelch Discord. It's because that positivity actually like it's legitimate. It's not like you were saying that like you're not a positivity automaton.
No.
So thank you for fostering such a positive and welcoming community. It is fantastic.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. Let me briefly explain how this show works. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at www.twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all the podcast apps. So, however you're watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast, thank you. Yes, you.
Well, before we get into the main topic of the show, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Shokunin and the other patrons of our show. Your support means the absolute world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing. And if you don't want to subscribe, we've got emotes that you can use just by following. Also, merch store is up. If you want some cool Born to Be Wild swag, you can check that out on our website. And if you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free, amazing online community of friends all across the world who love talking about Wild Hearthstone, other things too, like random cat photos, some, other games like Marvel Snap sometimes, stuff like that. So you can find all the links to everything at our website at borntobewildhs.com.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
We already had like an episode chock full of news, and then like today happened, and now we have like significantly more news. Like what? News overload. It is wild.
Oh. Thank you.
That was a good one. Never would have thought of
that. So Hydra, tell us a little bit about some of the like breaking news are happening now.
Well, something that, sort of popped up as my phone kept buzzing, all day long is we got some nerfs, and it's not like we got a ton of nerfs. We got two nerfs. And so I'm going to give a quick rundown for these two right now. We got Shockspitter. Oh my gosh, it's gone up by 1 mana. How do you guys feel? 2 to 3.
Whoa.
I mean, it'll affect standard for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the crazy stuff going on with Wild and with Shockspitter. I'm not sure if it's going to do much for Wild, but like, I think that 1 mana will affect standard enough. Maybe.
Yeah. I think that for standard, like slowing it down a little bit, there being an OTK deck, it's not a bad thing. Like, the rock paper scissors, It's an important element. It being so OTK so fast, I think was kind of the issue. So slowing it down a little bit is probably a good move. High confidence change, right?
Yeah, no, agreed. I think it's a decent change. We'll see if it actually makes a huge effect. The lower mana cards, when they go up by 1 mana, usually is a big deal. It's a large increase in overall cost. Though we do have another card which has been notorious lately. Some people call him Big Daddy D. And Big Daddy D got a nerf. All right. So it's going to do the same thing. It's just going to take you a little longer. Twice as long to get there. Because now it takes 2. You got to infuse twice instead of once to get this to add 1 every single time. So it's double. It's going to take twice as much. So it's going to be a lot slower.
I mean, they murdered the card. Like, stop. He's already dead. Like,
He's already dead.
Like, I mean, you had a good run, Sire Denathrius. But woof. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, this is old timey. The card is dead. Nerf dead. Right. Like goodbye. You had a good run.
Yeah.
Yeah. They almost went full War Song Commander, but they dialed it back about like 2 notches. And we're like, right there. They killed it. They didn't just, sprinkle salt on that.
It's a shallow grave, at least.
Exactly. The heart of the card.
Oh yeah, they did. I guess
they did. Yeah. They did. It does the same thing, and it costs the same amount. So the heart of the card is there. It's going to take you a while. So
yeah. It was like, how do we make sure this card isn't at Worlds? I know.
Make it where you can't play it.
When it's a card that you can sort of just slot in as an extra win condition into so many decks, it's at the point where it's being just played too much, right? And there are times that you can just be winning a game and you're playing your ass off and you're doing so well and they're like, ha Denathrius.
It'll do that. Yeah, I'm not saying the nerf is wrong. I'm not saying that I was disappointed that they did it. I felt like, if you want a new meta, right, you had to get rid of Sire Denathrius.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they didn't warn us.
Yeah.
But I mean, this was the most extreme measure I thought they could make, though.
They could have made it not go face, right?
Yeah, but like, I still think that would have had more use than this does, though, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. To make it like still okay.
Like, if it didn't go face, it would have been a control tool at that point, right? You could put in deck as a control tool. I don't think you'd see play as a control tool, but you could do. I mean, I can't imagine playing this in a deck now. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm notoriously wrong about this kind of stuff, but I can't imagine.
I forget. Did we get it for free?
We did.
Yes.
Oh, okay, then I guess that's not so bad, right?
Yeah, I accidentally left Denathrius in one of my decks. By that I mean I meant to play a different deck. I've been playing around with Death Knight. One of them was Blood, Double Unholy. Yeah, that
Denathrius at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other one was Triple Unholy. I meant to cue the Triple Unholy and did not. So Denathrius did not do so much in that game. Funny thing about that.
Just playing with 29 cards, aren't I?
Yeah, pretty much. I was, however, playing another card in that deck that there have been pretty much ubiquitous calls for nerf, and he dodged another one.
Oh,
Bran Bronzebeard dodged a nerf again.
Yeah, I think Bran obviously has been off the radar for a long time, being a wild card, but being in the spotlight, I think some standard players are seeing how powerful Bran can really be, right? And it's been a huge topic of discussion, and I think they figured a card that's just been around for so long and has not been that crazy and wild, maybe shouldn't be touched.
Yeah, if the calls continue happening for Bran to be like touched or nerfed or something, I hope they just rotate him back our way early. Like Standard has clearly had their fill of Bran. Just give us our lovable character back.
I mean, they've admitted when some, like before, remember when they put some cards from Wild back in Standard, like the Evolve stuff for a while, and they admitted that had stayed for too long.
Yeah, Doom in the Tomb.
Mercenaries did that, right? They were working on Mercenaries, so they couldn't adjust Doom in the Tomb.
Yeah.
That's what happened there. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, so I feel like it would be sort of in that ballpark. Like, all right, well, they're not going to nerf Evolve or something like that. They're just going to, send it back. So I think worst case Ontario, they send Bran just back our way.
Yeah, it's like a house guest that kind of, it's a really close friend that you love, great friend, but just a few weeks too long, right? Like, it was great you came over. Why don't you just say the weekend? You're staying longer. That's not really what I was looking for. Yeah, I was going to ask you guys as kind of the Wild experts, actually, because I'm just dipped my toe in Wild. Is Bran a problem in Wild that a nerf is necessary, or can like the rotation back to home, basically? It's like, hey, we had fun, Bran, but okay, head home. Is that more of what would be okay?
Yeah, I personally think if he just returned home, he'd be welcomed back with open arms. I mean, he's lived here the whole time. He may be keeping a toothbrush in Standard's house, but like he knows where he lives, right?
Yeah.
The 3 mana. Yeah. We have ways to cheat mana, but it still keeps it from being out of control because the aggro is faster. The control tools have more. Control has more control tools. More disruption to kind of get around him. So he's definitely still powerful. Here in Wild, but he's not the like crazy power outlier that he is in Standard.
Like, if you are an aggro player and you're versing a deck that has Bran in it and they've got the chance to actually play Bran, you've already lost unless they're tempoing Bran out. Right? Like, sometimes they'll do that to slow you down because you're like, oh crap, I gotta kill that Bran. So like, yeah, it's not a big deal, to be honest. It's a great wild card. I love them.
Yeah. I thought they would just send him back. I was like, there's no reason to change anything. Just go ahead and move Bran home. But, oh well.
Yeah. Agreed. Fully agreed. We also, you guys got any more comments on Denathrius? We good? Cool. Well, I was going to bring up a tweet that Celestalon put out where he stated, we're also aware of the interaction between Grim and Gruntled Patreon and Corpse Explosion. Have you guys seen this happen yet?
oh yeah.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah, because it charges your Denathrius, right? And then you kill him. Anyway, it's not exactly like the best thing, but they, I guess, recognize that it's ridiculous. Once you have your Grim Patrons and you play your Corpse Explosion, it takes like a few minutes to actually play out because everyone.
Yeah, it gets super excessive. I was playing earlier this morning, and I think that the turn felt like it took 15 minutes. It probably wasn't like quite that long.
Minutes. Yeah. It was probably 2.5 at the most, but still.
And it's just kind of like, okay, I heard this took a while, but like, I have to check them. I went out, I checked the mail, I took the dog for a walk, like I came back. Corpse Explosion was still going off, so I made some eggs, like poured some cereal.
Drove them from Colorado to British Columbia so I could have eggs.
But by the time I got to BC, the turn had finally ended and I was able to play my turn out. So that much was nice.
And then they played Sire Denathrius and you died.
That's correct. But that was the next turn. So, like I got to do like my 2 or 3 things. But I was playing triple unholy DK, so like I was just building a board again, and then the board was gone because Denathrius was like at 586. Like it was wild.
Oh, we did it again.
This is the same one.
So Celestial Salon goes on to say that they've temporarily banned Grim Patron and Gruntled Patron from ranked play. Now, I'm confused. Maybe y'all can explain this to me, but so I went and I made a Death Knight deck and I double clicked on Corpse Explosion. So I added 2 of those. And then I clicked on both patrons and I added those. And then I hit autocomplete. And then I queued Wild and I played with it like right before the show started. So I'm super confused.
Matt at Arms in chat actually said they fixed it so that they don't leave corpses.
Oh, that makes sense. That's a really elegant solution. I like that because then it's not a perpetual motion machine. It doesn't keep on feeding itself. Make a corpse, spend a corpse, make a corpse, spend a corpse, go for 20 minutes like this explanation, and then it's the next turn. So that's a really elegant solution.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I was playing Control Paladin earlier and with Dragon Paladin, and I used Kazakhstan, and they had a Wax Rager out. At a Wax Rager, they played Corpse Explosion, and they blew through every single one of their corpses, killing 35 Wax Ragers. Now it's like, this was a turn we just had. I'm not sure if you expected that to happen or not, but your corpses are all gone.
This isn't a Tim Burton movie anymore. The corpses are gone.
All right. So who here likes signature cards? Yes.
I do.
No. Yeah.
I do.
Dan0 likes them.
I love them. I love them.
Well, apparently not everybody does. Did you guys know that?
I couldn't tell. Ignore every bad thing on Twitter, and so these glasses. They're rose colored. People love them.
My glasses are sepia toned.
I mean, here's the thing. I bet you if I had blinders on and Twitter didn't exist, I would love them. But it's like when people are like, this is crap. I'm like, yeah, that is crap. Right? Like,
I'm into bed.
Yeah, no, I think they look really thematic. You know, they look like tombstones. Yeah. They look like, the Death Knight, everything's kind of like dead and withered, and, they really capture.
Solo.
Yeah, very much so. Frozen in that sepia-toned carbonite. I actually think they look really kickin' rad, especially on the board. Like the cards themselves, they look pretty cool. But on the board is where I think they really shine, both physically and metaphorically. But I've had a little bit of bumps in the road as far as signature cards are concerned too, around the not having duplicate protection for the golden cards. So I've got I had a golden card, got a signature card. Boom, golden card was able to be re-rolled into something else from the same set. Everything was working as intended. Then I opened up another golden legendary because I had golden packs. I spent too much money on that thing. And I got another golden copy of something that I had a signature card of already, and I was not as excited. And I was just like, oh well, I mean, I like the signature cards. I'm gonna play that one. But yeah. Now I have this gold card that I can disenchant for dust, but I just want the other golden one. So hopefully there's in their kind of reworking, they do some kind of workaround with the economy like that, because that's my biggest constructive criticism really for the signature cards is just I want to be excited when I see the gold shinies and not like, oh cool, oh. I'm not gonna play this one.
And it's not like golden packs are super cheap, right? They cost a pretty penny, and when I open my golden packs, I want to be happy about it, right? Not like, all right, I guess I'll take that, like kind of thing. It's something you're like, yes, like you're building towards something, and that disappointment can be there. And Celestalon had mentioned that they've gotten some feedback, and I know that you were a part of that, right?
And the feedback that I just gave here is pretty much what I gave them.
Yeah. So Celestalon tweeted out saying that the Hearthstone team is always looking for ways to surprise and delight our players, which means trying new things like these cards and taking risks and taking in the feedback. So we've heard your feedback and taking it to heart. We've already planning some significant changes for our next round of signature cards. More details to come. So I don't know exactly what that means with the significant changes. I mean, I was kind of okay with them in the first place. They're a little bland, but hey, if they're gonna make them, look at Dan0. He's saying these things are awesome.
They're dark, right? And it's kind of a dark set. The art is it's darker than most dark art we've ever gotten before. Like the thematically, like a little bit like heavier and darker. The Death Knight art is a little bit kind of more like you would expect out of Death Knight stuff. And I think that the signature cards we got are really cool. Like they feel thematically part of the March of the Death Knight, right? Or March Lich King.
Yeah.
And so I love that. The mage, the crazy chaos mage legendary. I had that one in signature. It is amazing. It looks so cool. I love that they're thematic. Like if that was how every set signature cards looked, yeah, that'd be a fail. But like if we're gonna get thematic stuff moving forward for other sets, so like they're not gonna be kind of all dark and kind of gray like that every single time. I think that's super cool, right? And it kind of shows the difference in the sets and the tone of the sets and the themes. And I think they're really, really cool. I love them. I haven't had a problem with them since Jump.
Do you play Magic?
Do I play Magic?
Yeah.
I played Magic in the 90s.
I was just thinking, I was trying to make a connection possibly here because Hearthstone is also whimsical. We've got Toki the Time Tinkerer and Nemzi and like all these fun, bright, colorful things that everybody has gotten used to. And we love them. And maybe in general, the darker themed stuff isn't as well received. Just a theory.
I think it's a fair idea.
That's how they look, right? They're darker. They're more sinister, if you would like to say it that way. And maybe that's it, because everything in Hearthstone is just funny and happy-go-lucky, and these things don't necessarily look that way.
Yeah, I feel like Hearthstone does kind of oscillate between the like whimsical and the more kind of serious themes. Whispers of the Old Gods was, there was like a tinge of whimsy to it, but it was still, like these dark, sinister old gods that are like coming down and, going to smite their opponents and all that. Like it thematically, was consistent with that. And then the Knights of the Frozen Throne was also pretty, serious tone. So I think the kind of oscillating back and forth is pretty typical of Hearthstone historically. So I don't think that the kind of darker tone is necessarily inconsistent with previous stuff. The fact that it was the first one and it's a little bit more like that dark, serious tone, maybe is why it was just more ill-received kind of out of the gate versus the like, whiz bang, like everything is like rainbows and like going to be a unicorn, like spearing you through the eviscerating you. I don't know. That got dark too.
Renos.
Yeah.
Renos.
Exactly. Amazing. Like him. So, I love the theme. I think it's not just consistent with March of the Lich King, but also I think it looks kicking rad. I understand why some folks don't necessarily agree with that, but it's, it's art to be appreciated or not. And then the next one will be different. So the fact that each one will be different too, I think is really cool. So I look forward to seeing that, especially if the duplicate protection is kind of reworked for the next go around, so I can be more excited about the happy things than just kind of like, oh, cool. And then disappointment.
Yeah. I know Nate had a couple disappointments as well, right? With some of his rerolls.
Yeah, he did. So I'll kind of jump down to that one a little bit here. So Nate tweeted to Celestalon asking if it was working as intended. So he bought the Path of Arthas fancy one, the golden one. And, of course, Golden Lady Death Whisper comes with that. So does Diamond Lady Death Whisper. And so it got the opportunity to re-roll the Golden Lady Death Whisper. But the way that the duplicate protection with re-rolls works, it re-rolls to something in the same set, which we knew about. They were always very clear about that. But since with the Path of Arthas, you bought the whole thing in gold. So what happened to Nate? And at this same thing to the card happened whenever I bought this too. Lady Death Whisper rolled into a Golden Frostmourne. So then he has 2 Golden Frostmournes instead of a Golden Lady Death Whisper. So he was a little salty about that, I think. And in his question to Celestalon replied saying, yes, re-rolling Golden Lady Death Whisper only matters if you had crafted her in golden and then individually purchased the diamond, and we're missing the other 2. For everyone who buys the Golden Path of Arthas set, doesn't really matter. You've already got everything. So Nate was a little disappointed by that one, but the rules are working as they're intended for that one. I can just totally see why whenever he saw the reroll, it was rerolled to something else, and then he was just like, oh.
Some of these are also kind of like whale sounds problems too.
Yes.
Right. Like when I play on EU and Asia and I get the option to reroll, I'm like, yes. And I just get something else that I don't have because I don't pay money on those 2 accounts. And it's an amazing free to play feature.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like my collection on those servers is pretty good for only opening like less than 40 packs, to be honest. Like obviously I'm missing, but there's like 27 legendaries. Like it's ridiculous. But I have basically everything except for those in epics. But the re-rolling is great. It really is. So I guess these are, like I said, some whale problems.
I mean, I would have made the same mistake though. I think like even knowing today that I know this is how it works, I'd make the mistake again because it just intuitively, I don't think of like, I wouldn't go think, oh, I already have every one of these already. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, no, it's working as intended. But I could see being upset about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to open my packs. I was afraid. So I'm at work all day and my phone is blowing up. People are like, open them now or else you won't get all the signature stuff. Don't open them. Open them. Don't open them. And then I'm like, right? So I'm like, I'm going to wait till the dust settles. And then I see these tweets saying, you've missed your chance. If you wanted every signature card, you're not going to get them now. And I'm like, I don't.
Okay.
I'll wait till Ridiculous Hat tells me it's okay to open my packs. And that's what I did. That is exactly what I did.
That is a great rule of thumb. So now that we're done monologuing about our whale problems there, we have some more exciting happenings. Go with happenings.
Happened or happening?
Happening?
Going to happen.
Ooh, I like happening. So the Lich King and the Scourge. Since we didn't record last week, which was that was my bad. That one was on me. The Play Hearthstone account like had this whole Twitch concert of the Lich King and the Scourge, and it was incredible.
So good.
So I didn't get to watch it live. Dan0, I know that you were watching that like all day. Tell us about it.
It was just this. It was just a great concert. It was just like a really fun. They called it undeath metal, and which, like, by the way, like that's kind of what I listen to at work, anyways. So having it on in the background all afternoon was just pure gold. And it was. I'd go over every once in a while, go to my second screen and like pop over to watch it live, and to watch the Lich King just like go full Norwegian metal was really, really fun. It was really just this Norse metal Lich King it was great. It was so much fun. They were giving away codes in chat that you had to like quickly copy and paste and get them to first one to buy it, first one to get it, first one to got it. It was fantastic. It was really, really, really fun. Super fun event. Got me really hyped for the expansion, actually, just like because it was, a fun little, it was like thematic, right? But it was Hearthstone thematic, right? Where it's like, we're going to make this silly as well. And I'm a big fan of that, right? And so, yeah, it was outstanding. I don't know if they announced they were doing this or if it just happened. I just came across, I think Ben Heathstone tweeted it out. And I was
that's the first I've actually even heard of it. Like, I didn't even know this happened. And I just hit play on the first song, and I'm instantly like banging my head.
It was just good music too. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Man, the crowd was going. Like, there was like a undead
it's a
crowd.
Cartoon so undead crowd just going nuts. Yeah, it looks awesome. Yeah.
It was great. It was outstanding.
I'm gonna listen to this while I'm driving to work in the morning and be all stoked.
And so if you, like Hydra, missed the concert live, don't worry. They recorded it and they put the playlist on YouTube and you can listen to it right now. The whole YouTube playlist is, if you were watching live, in chat and of course is in our show notes. And yeah, I mean, it's kicking rad. Like it's incredible. I have listened to it multiple times since. I want to say that someone mentioned that it was on Spotify too, which is my music player of choice. Of course, now that I've said that, I'm like, I'm actually going to check. And it may not actually be on there. Yeah, it looks like it's not. But Blizzard, please put the Lich King and the Scourge present Unholy Night on Spotify. I will listen to that like all day, every day.
Well, I got put it on Tidal as well because I use Tidal. So if you could put it on Tidal as well, that'd be great. Thank you.
Just put it on all of the things, please.
Amazon Music,
Napster,
Kazaa,
LimeWire. Is that LimeWire? Are we still using LimeWire? Does anyone, or am I the only one old enough to know what LimeWire is?
Oh no, yeah. I know LimeWire. Okay, I've got many viruses from LimeWire. That's hilarious.
That was a trip down memory lane. But
all right, so apparently there's a new set, right? And there's a new class and people are playing stuff that's new, right? Well, I don't know about you guys, but when I queue a game, it's like a good 50-50 chance that I'm playing against a Death Knight.
Yeah. I am pretty much 100% of the time playing as a Death Knight. I've already got 35 wins. Check
35? You crazy sheep. Crazy mammal. That's insane. I don't have that many, but also I'm scrambling because they have these the timed quests that they have, and I have to, because I'm crazy, I have to do it on 3 servers. So like every day after work, I'm clearing my quests and going on 3 servers, and I'm doing it, and I'm just like trying to keep up to it. And when they do these timed events, it drives me crazy that way. Not to mention, I'm always keeping up with my stupid mercenaries thing. And yeah, so like but I've had the pleasure of playing some of the stuff, like the blood one. That's pretty nuts. That Sheep was talking about earlier, that Denathrius kind of topped off the list. That deck's pretty good, hey?
Oh yeah. There's so many different archetypes that like I feel like I've hardly scratched the circle. I feel like I've hardly even scratched the surface. Like there's so many different possibilities. In our format, of course, Gen is huge because being able to push the button on 1, get a corpse to immediately cash it in on 2, hence my, aggro leanings. I immediately want to just play the totem golem on 2 without being overloaded. Like, it's great. Love it. Not something you can do unless you're like, playing the 1/3 that gives you a corpse. I'm explaining these cards because I don't remember what they're called yet. I'll get there.
I know what you mean by the totem golem, though. I know that one. It gets the plus stuff when you've got the corpse.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know the names of them either, but they're awesome.
Oh yeah.
Is the 1/3 like body bagger? Is that right?
That sounds right.
I mean,
that
I don't
is the
know.
name of a card.
Yeah,
I don't know card names
the one
very
that gives
well.
you the corpse. Yeah, yeah.
So if I got that right, like we need to go ahead and just clip that and save it forever because that's a Christmas miracle right there.
You should go on Hearthstone Jeopardy.
No, I should not.
Are we playing with golf scores? Because if so, then I'll play too.
They should do an episode of people that don't know the cards.
I can explain the cards really well. I know what they all do. I could not tell you what they are called. But I can explain a card. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to go with Body Bagger. The 1/3 that gives you a corpse. Like, it's kicking rad. I keep on saying that today. But
It is kicking rad, though.
that's my theme for the day. I mean, it's the, you know, Pee Wee Herman. It's the word of the day.
Word of the
day. We are definitely showing our age tonight.
I love Pee Wee.
Yeah.
So, of course, and whenever I'm playing Wild, I am typically playing even Demon Hunter of some sort. Actually had a lot of fun.
Demon Hunter?
Sorry, Death Knight, DK.
Death Knight.
Death Knight, DK. But our friend MartianBuu has actually hit legend with, I was about to say Demon Hunter again, with Death Knight already. And this one is not exactly an aggressive variant. So Martian hit it with Triple Blood Reno Death Knight. This list looks incredible. I've got it on the screen right now. I don't know if you can read it because it's a Reno list, so it's like super long and everything's like super small on there because of it. But you know, we've got the greats, we've got Zeph, we've got Reno, we've got Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. I mean, we've got these big bombs. And then of course it's Triple Blood. So we've got Vampiric Blood, which is the 2 mana. You gain 5 life if you expend, I think it's 5 corpses. Then you gain an additional 5 life and draw a card. So you gain 10 life, draw a card.
That's a cool card.
This is not only a Reno deck, it's also a Prince Renathal deck. So it's 40 unique cards. It's just, this seems like something that our friend Dan0 would like to play. Huh?
I already did play it. I played it today because I was like, I should probably do my research for this episode and actually play some of the decks that we'll be talking about. This deck is fire. It is so much fun. It's ridiculous. I mean, it plays it plays Zephyrus and it plays DQA, 2 of my all-time favorite cards. It runs Denathrius, which I can't imagine it will continue to run Denathrius after today.
I'm sure they can find something else to put in that slot.
But I had a lot of fun with it. It was right up my alley. I really enjoyed it. One of the things for me about Wild is being careful not to play too many good decks. So I have to keep my MMR low in order to keep up, to be able to play Cthulhu on a regular basis. I can't go be playing good decks and winning too much because that will ruin the whole shtick. But this deck was, I mean, if I wasn't trying to play Cthulhu Rogue on a regular basis, this actually I probably would just queue this and play it. It's a lot of fun. It's just it worked really well. It played. I mean, it was a good deck. I mean, at least it was a good deck for day 2 or 3 of the meta, whatever we're on. It was good enough. I had a lot of fun with it. 100% win rate. So
love it. Well, and
you got to take those.
Absolutely. Looking through the deck list, see so many discover a spell, which in Wild is typically kind of like rolling the dice. Are you going to get one of the good things? Are you going to get one of the bad things? Because the history is just so long. The fact that Death Knight just dropped, you're limiting that pool that it can even pull from, and you're only really being given essentially like good choices. So odds are you're going to find something usable for your situation there. So especially right now where, the pool is so small, which won't happen for very long in our format. now is the time if you want to play decks like this to play this variant, because the pool's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get more diluted. So the more consistency that it has is right now.
Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
I would give just 2 thumbs up. You should definitely go play this deck. At least a few games of it. I played 3 games of it. I won all 3 though. And it was great.
It's not just one game.
That is
Right?
like that is more than
Unlike
2.
The deck we're gonna talk about next, which I did play 1 game of.
And that one is probably one that the triple blood DK is meant to counter. And that is the deck that is taking Wild by storm. Oh, Discard Warlock is back with a vengeance.
It's not only back with a vengeance, it is pillaging, destroying. Like, this thing is ridiculous. Like, yeah.
It's a duels deck. I played this. In duels, and the power level is the same. I mean, it's a middling deck in duels, but like a middling deck in duels is way too good for constructed. So I mean, it's good.
So many things that like just whenever you discard them, it's advantageous. It's not like a drawback. Like it's cool to have a few of those, and I can see why in standard it's not like, you know, rolling over everything, because they've only got a few. We already had quite a few. Now we got some more incredible ones. Soul Barrage is just incredible.
It's such a good card.
It's nuts.
Like, it's
First time that happened, I was like, "Whoa, that's good."
Then we've got Walking Dead. Discarded, it's like a silverware golem, just it's got taunt.
Yeah.
I think anybody who didn't like see this on a stream and was playing and naturally won or lost to this the first time had that same reaction you just said, Dano. Because I was laying in bed, like me and my wife were watching The Office, and I was playing on my iPad, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right. Okay, so they got Malchezaar's Imp. Oh, okay, now they just shuffled everything into their deck. Oh, now it's all coming back. Now I'm getting hit in the face over and over again. Now it's happening again, and I'm dead.
Not playing any cards, but so much is happening.
What? What is going on?
Yeah, it's so we were playing in the theory crafting stream, and you know, we played a few games of Disco, and it's just like on 2 we played the expired merchant, or sorry, not expired merchant, the Tiny Knight of Evil, and then on 3 we played the tome tampering, and we had a couple of hands of Gul'dan, and it felt like boom, crazy big fantastic things happening. It's like, oh, this is just going to be like one of those things that's incredible in the theory crafting stream. And then when it actually, like, when push comes to shove, it's just not going to be consistent enough. I was wrong. I was so wrong. It is way too consistent. Don't get me wrong. You're not always tome tampering, but like, you've got your Tiny Knight of Evil. You've got your Malchezaar's Imp. You've got your expired merchant. You got your hand of Gul'dan. You got your refill. You got your discard. You've got it all.
Really good. It's really good.
So I guess my biggest question, because Disco is everywhere. It is everywhere. What do you think is going to happen to the deck? Do you think it's just going to be one of those things that it's, you know, new meta, so like it's the big flashy thing and it'll kind of peter out? Or do you think that it'll be like something will get addressed? Probably not something that's also standard, just because it's not an issue in standard. What do you think is going to happen to the deck?
We've had a few things that have been banned in Wild, and I don't think this is necessarily out of that realm because it's crazy, but this also has happened so fast. Dr. BOMD said that he was playing at High Legend and that people are just running straight counters at this point, like the blood DK, right? I was asking him earlier. People are just running straight counters like healing, removal, and that deals with it, and they're screwed, right? So there are stuff that can beat it, but I feel like it beats too many things at this point in time. So maybe we let it sit for a little bit and see how it goes. But it still seems insane to me. Like I said, it's not interactive unless you're running a hard counter. Like a hard counter.
I mean,
how many ice blocks can I get?
I mean, the only interaction is Soul Barrage with your face. I mean, it's just like
it's nuts.
Yeah.
To me at this point it seems broken.
Yeah. Wild being broken by Warlock at the very beginning of an expansion. It's tradition.
Kind of on brand, isn't it?
Yeah. There was Stealer of Souls. There was a Demon Seed. I guess the next one was a priest card, the Switcheroo.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Snip Snap. Oh gosh, Snip Snap. They totally reworked the way a whole keyword works because of Snip Snap. Like that was that was a severe power outlier, to say the least.
Yeah. I think they're going to have to do something about it. They might wait a little bit to see how things settle, but in the end, it's really bad. Like, it wins almost as an aggro deck without minions on the board, other than like a Tiny Knight of Evil that's
very tall Tiny Knight of Evil.
It's like those old school TV shows where, you know, the big burly dude, like, who's jacked and everything, is named Tiny.
Yeah.
Tiny Knight of Evil.
It's basically that.
Yeah, it's wild though, right? So like, I guess you guys can speak better than me though, but like, it'll take time. They're not going to move quickly, I imagine, unless it just becomes like crazy powerful. Then they'll just ban something, right? It's like, and that card is no longer allowed.
Yeah.
Well, if you need Warlock wins, get them in.
You know what though? I kind of do. But again, it's the whole MMR thing. I don't want to mess up my MMR. I can't play good decks. That's the key. I have to remind myself that I can't play good decks.
Ooh, a discard Cthulhu Warlock.
Trust me, I spend too much of my days. Cthulhu? I think about Cthulhu all the time.
That's right, because it's the biggest one in your hand.
So you get multiple Cthulhus.
So many expired merchants. Huh? Tome tampering to make Cthulhu only cost one?
Huh? See, Cthulhu's the best minion, right? Because you do all the fun stuff. It's just a fun puzzle. It's a puzzle you get to solve. How do you play this card in this deck?
Gosh, now I really want to make a discard Cthulhu Warlock. I think it could actually be playable. Not viable, but playable.
Oh, playable where I live on ladder. Yeah.
So many exciting ideas. As long as tome tampering in particular is not banned. Because that's the glue that's going to hold together. If they ban tome tampering, it's going to be just because of this conversation. They don't want Cthulhu discard Warlock to just take the meta by storm.
Their biggest fear.
Exactly. It's a viable. It's a very relevant concern. Which is
just the biggest concern. The only thing on their mind right now. It's like, what if they find out about how good discard Cthulhu Warlock is?
Cats, they figured out the puzzle before we could get our ban in. No.
And the three of them were never seen again.
Straight to Blizzard jail.
We definitely can't spotlight this deck on next week's episode. It could happen. You remember what happened with Secret Mage when we had Schmoopy Daddy on and we spotlighted how to build the best Secret Mage deck. There was the video that got the most views we've ever had because, I mean, it's Secret Mage and it's an easier deck to play. And that blew up. So that'll happen when we make this.
So stay tuned for next week's Discard Cthulhu Warlock Clinic.
It's perfect.
I know what I'm doing for the rest of tonight.
Oh,
See, Cthulhu's fun, right?
Should we bring back the listener this week's challenge? Who can build the best discard Cthulhu Warlock?
Hydra, I think that's a fantastic idea. So, if you want to win 2 free packs on us, go into the weekly challenges channel of our Discord. I don't think it's been archived. I think it's still there.
No, I think she's still there. I'll double check right now, but go ahead.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's there.
And put together your favorite discard Cthulhu Warlock deck. Drop it in that weekly challenges channel. If you play it, like show pictures of the biggest Cthulhu. If you've got a brand Cthulhu that you just played for 2, and that Cthulhu was like a 586, just clearing the board, going face, and it just did it twice. Put that in the weekly challenges channel of the Discord. The best, the biggest Cthulhu, the all of that. We want to see
flashiest that you can provide us.
Yeah.
Screenshot, replay, whatever it is, post it in the weekly challenges, and you can get 2 packs on us from any expansion of your choice.
Not golden packs. That is the one caveat. They're not golden packs.
Not golden packs. Regular packs. Thank you for saying that. I've never had to say that before.
The times they are changing.
It's hilarious.
All right. Well, we had a really action-packed news section. I don't actually have anything else in the show notes, so outside of that, we just get to hang out, and that's the exciting part too.
Yeah, I mean that's always a blast. We did miss last week's show. If anyone was wondering, we did have a stream. We did get invited to the pre-release event where we got to stream the new stuff before, y'all got to play it. So we feel very spoiled, and we thank you, Papa Blizzard, for letting us do that. Thank you very much. We feel so honored, and we had an absolute blast, didn't we, Sheep?
It was so much fun. Our friend Dan0, who's hanging out with us here, was hanging out in chat too. So Dan0, I hope that you had a fun living vicariously through us. Sorry that we weren't able to bring you along on that adventure.
You guys killed it. It was so
you
good.
Were along
the stream
because you were in chat and you were talking to us and saying how much fun you were having. We were also playing some maybe not the most competitive decks, but the funnest ones.
Well, I'm pretty sure we won with Cthulhu Death Knight, if I recall correctly. I think we were like 2-0 at one point with Cthulhu DK. It was so much fun.
You beat Mark.
Yeah. Didn't even get to play it out. He conceded.
I think that one did play out, right? Because I don't think
did he?
I think you just minioned him down. I don't think you even played good. I think
you're right.
Just played a bunch of River Crocs and he didn't do the thing and then died.
It do be like that sometimes.
Yeah, we're told not to concede, right? So there's a disclaimer when you get invited to this saying don't concede because people want to be able to clip the funnest interactions and the coolest OTKs. So please don't concede. And yeah, it's a bummer when some people do because you don't get to do the cool thing. I get that they're probably fishing for their cool thing, so maybe they're on to the next one, but just let it ride. Was it Raffle? Who we had lethal on Raffle and we decided not.
Yeah, we just passed.
Do it. We passed the turn completely, and Raffle could have been like, "All right, whatever," but we're like, "Yog!" The next turn.
Yeah.
So much fun.
That was the most fun deck we played. I don't know how I haven't already been waxing poetic about this all night because that Demon Hunter, and I didn't misspeak this time, the no minion Yogg DH was just so much fun. I've been playing that a little bit still. My scythe isn't gold, so I haven't been playing it as much.
Fix
I know.
that.
I'm gonna have to eventually.
I opened a gold one.
Oh,
Sorry.
love it.
I'm sorry, but I did.
I'm not sorry. I'm happy. I'm glad you did. That's incredible.
It made me very happy. That was a 2-in-1. I got 2 gold. It was a golden pack, but 2 gold legendaries in 1 pack.
Whoa. What was your other golden legendary?
I put it in the pack opening. I'll tell you momentarily. It was I cannot pronounce this. It's Thoribalor.
Thoribalori.
Yeah, that one.
That's how I like to say it, at least. Always with that exuberant like tone.
It's the elemental. It's the elemental that reminds me of the mage one, but this one's warrior. Like the art looks the same to me as Pyros. It reminds me of Pyros.
Oh, I can see that.
It does. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but yeah, so I got Pyros and Soul Eater's Scythe in the same pack, and I was extremely stoked.
Nice.
Mostly because of the Soul Eater Scythe deck. Like, that was so fun. We just put 3 big things in, and yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah.
I gotta go back and play that again now.
It, at the very least, on day 1, it was still holding up. That was before Disco's like completely took the meta by storm. Though
yeah, we probably
do
died to that.
Probably, but maybe not, because we run so many controlling tools. That's what most of our spells do.
We're trying to get to the point to play that. So maybe it would work.
Meta breaking right here, right now.
Maybe. Just gotta be able to take care of that giant tiny knight of evil, though.
That tiny knight of evil.
Right?
He's been hitting the
Big
gym.
Game Hunter.
The big BGH is one of our 3 minions instead of Queen Ajara. I mean, we could.
I mean, I remember when you had to run BGH in every single deck because Dr. Poom was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so blast from the past. I started playing Hearthstone completely free to play. Very clearly not the case anymore, right?
Most of us did.
Was, like saving up my dust. I finally collected enough dust to craft my first legendary, Dr. Boom. I did that by finishing up my daily quests or whatever it was back then. I don't remember exactly what the way that you got extra gold was, but I did it in the morning. So I was so excited.
You mean like the win 3 games get 10 gold thing?
Yeah. So I finally got enough dust from all the packs and stuff. That morning I was so excited I crafted Dr. Boom. I can tell you if I look it up exactly what day I crafted my first legendary. Because it is the day that they announced the standard and wild split and that Dr. Boom was going to be rotating into wild. That is the day that I crafted my first legendary.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's a good day. That's brutal.
Well, I guess I'm playing wild.
And now here I am.
Yeah, my first 3 legendaries that I opened up from packs. I was also free to play. My first 2 legendaries were Alakir is my first one.
Ooh.
But I still have that Alakir. My second one was Nozdormu.
Ooh.
My third one was Nozdormu.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you can't run too.
Oh.
I can't tell you how many Nat Pagels and Laura Walker Chose I got. Like, so many. I got my actual very, very first was Illidan. What is it? The 7/5 that gives you the 2 ones when you cast a spell. And it was golden, right? And so it just golden. And so it just sat in my collection forever because I had no use for it at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad card.
Yeah. It was a bad card. And then I ran it in a good deck. It was a bad card in a good deck, but it still worked. Quest Rogue. All right. When Quest Rogue came out, I ran Illidan, because the 2 ones were 5/5s.
That's not a good reason to run that card.
Finally found a reason to play the card, okay?
You know what else for 5/5s? Every other card you played.
Everything.
Giggling inventor stuff, boars, yeah. No, but I was like, you guys will see. Yeah, it was golden, okay? I needed to play my golden Illidan.
It's fair. I mean, worse things happen.
My very first.
Speaking of trying to have a low MMR,
there you go. Yeah, I also remember my very first golden legendary because I tried so hard to make a deck around the Skeleton Knight.
Oh God, yeah,
for like a solid 3-4 months. I don't even remember what Skeleton Knight does at this point.
It goes back into your hand when it dies or something, I think.
Sounds about right.
Goes back into your hand when it dies, I think.
Yeah. That was my very first golden legendary. It is not a good card.
I had that in gold 2 sheep, and you know what I did? I disenchanted it. And then when I was on the search to have a full collection, I had to recraft it.
Oh. Okay, so Skeleton Knight was a 6-mana 7/4 with Death Rattle. Reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more,
Joust.
Return this to your hand. So it jousted.
You had to joust to get that terrible minion back.
You had to joust for it. It wasn't even just goes in your hand. You joust.
And then you still would have had to pay 6 mana to replay it. And it's a 7/4, so it's like a glass, not even cannon, because that's only got 7 attack for 6 mana. I tried so hard to make it work. I tried playing Baron, the double your death rattles. That didn't help. That did absolutely nothing. Ask me how, Baron Rivendare, that's the one. Ask me how I know. Yeah. I tried. I tried so hard. Oh.
Wow. I feel a little sad now. That's I don't think I've ever seen that card played. Until this very moment, I did not remember that card existed. That's amazing. Like a tip of the hat to put that in a deck and then try to make it work.
I was nothing if not tenacious. I am still tenacious, but no longer about the Skeleton Knight.
The joust mechanic, huh? Holy moly, that was woof. That didn't work.
No, there was a couple that were okay, but yeah, in general.
It was usually okay in spite of it being a joust card, I feel like. If I remember right from the cards that were playable for being joust cards, it was kind of, the card is already kind of okay, and then there's like, okay, then there's also this little bonus here.
Did Ivory Knight joust? Right? That's the 4/4 paladin horse who healed you for the size of the card that you got.
No, I think that just
or just did it.
I think it just did it, didn't that? I don't remember. There were a couple. It wasn't, I think, the Hunter one, right? There was a Hunter Beast that jousted that was played. I think it was Hunter.
Yeah, the 2-mana one. It had a good stat line, and then if you won the joust, then you actually got to draw a card too.
Yeah. So
yeah, like you said, it was a solid card with the potential upside. I think that was the only one that I remember that was actually played.
And then Mage had one as well, didn't they? But I might be wrong about that. And then Matt in chat, it was a Discover. I thought it was a 6-mana 4/4 Discover, and then you healed for
what you heal the cost. Yeah, heal the cost of the card. Yeah, okay, so it wasn't Joust.
Yeah.
From the same set, I think.
I don't remember. Yeah. Was Discover that early in Hearthstone's lifespan?
Discover was super early, but Ivory Knight was One Night in Karazhan.
Yes. Okay.
Which was
Ivory Knight was Karazhan. Oh my god, Entresol with the stupid chess game.
Yeah. Oh, the chess game was so much fun.
Not in Heroic, it's not. It's not fun at all in Heroic.
When it's the most fun.
My wife used to sit on the couch while I was playing that, and I played it for a week straight on Heroic.
En passant.
And she's like, She's like, can you stop that sound? I can't make it stop.
The very best Hearthstone chess, the Hearthstone chess tavern brawl.
I do like it.
I love when that comes back in vogue because it's just like one of my favorite tavern brawls. I always play the tavern brawl. I get my free, I earn my standard pack. The chess one, I'm always so happy. I end up playing to about like 10, 15 wins whenever the chess is in the tavern brawl again. That one's so much fun.
That's me with the the Zombies one. Whenever the Zombies brawl comes back, I will jam some Zombies brawl. That is so much fun. I'll just play for the week. I'll just be playing tavern brawl. I love the Zombies brawl. It's a lot of fun.
It makes it more special when they make you wait for it to come around. But at the same time, like, so I played a lot of like StarCraft and StarCraft Brood War a long time ago, and they had the wonderful thing called use map settings, and you could play any mode you ever wanted at any time. And it was awesome, right? And so like if you wanted to do something, I know it's a different game, but the dual class arena, it was there, right? But StarCraft, it was SCV football. I don't know if y'all ever played that, but playing football with a bunch of SCVs, it's a lot of fun.
Oh,
but you could do it whenever you wanted, and it was really neat because it was just like a sandbox mode that at any time you just hopped in and you could play all this stuff. But in Hearthstone, sometimes having that come around once a year or whatever it is makes it more special than it is. So, I mean, I'm sure they're smart. They've run a bunch of tests on the data. They know that they're going to get all their players funneled in at the exact same time. Everyone's going to want to play it. They get hype. So they're the experts. But I do wish there was a little bit more, I guess, happening at the same time. You know,
I do miss Joe Mag running tavern brawls though, and having like fresh tavern brawl every week and exciting new tavern brawls and like curated tavern brawl. I do miss that. That really made that mode fun and like worth playing for that pack every week. I'll go on like ebbs and flows on whether I'm doing the tavern brawl or not. Like I'll go like a month or two where I play every single one and then I'll forget it exists entirely.
I just forgot until you told me just now.
Right? And then I'll go back and I'll start playing it again. But like when Joe Mag was running it, it was worth going to because they were frequently fresh. And that was a lot of fun. But there's so many new modes now. Like I understand why Tavern Brawl isn't like front and center like it used to be. We have, duels and arena and mercenaries and, wild and classic and standard. And it's just, there's so much to do. Battlegrounds. Forgot Battlegrounds, most popular game mode.
Yeah, that one.
Everywhere.
I don't even play that one.
Neither do I.
But for anyone who is free to play, don't forget about Tavern Brawl. It's kind of hiding in that modes button. I think it's on the far right. Click on that because, you get your free pack every single week if you want to build that collection. And it's
Every
always
Wednesday.
from a more recent standard pack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a standard pack.
The old classics. Yeah. So it's a great way to build your collection. So if you're not doing that, like me, you should start doing that. Because it's been a while. I mean, unless you get that quest that says like play 3 Tavern Brawls or
duels. Do that for duels. Go play casual duels. If you get play 5, go play casual duels. I'm telling you, you won't regret it.
Yeah.
Just Google Hearthstone
decks.
duels decks. Google that. You'll find the duels decks. There's a bunch of 12-win runs out there. Copy and paste one of them in. It's a ton of fun. Play casual. Casual is casual. As far as duels is concerned, there is a difference in the two modes. If you play heroic, if you play casual duels, like the people playing non-casual are not casual, and they're playing for their gold and their packs, and it's a more difficult game. But the casual mode is pretty low key. It's fun, worth doing. Little plug on the Wild podcast. My bad.
No. Duels technically is kind of wild. It's got wild cards.
Yeah.
It would make you sick to see how many tickets I have.
Same.
All of them. All of the tickets. Like, it's ridiculous. I'll screenshot it and send it to you. I don't know if they've got a cap on, like it does 9+ when you have cards in your thing. Okay, well, I'll send it to you. It's probably like 17 or 18 or something like that.
Yeah. If you're looking at Arena, it'll just say 9+. If you're looking at Heroic Duels, it'll tell you how many you have.
Oh yeah, I have so many. Schmoopy tried to get me into it a while back. I was going for, and it's fun. I did the thing where you played the legendaries that were all like the 1/4s or the 0/4s or whatever, and it was absolutely broken. I got a lot of wins then, and I think that's the last time I touched it because that was fun.
Yeah,
winning's fun.
For a while, Duels was kind of like gatekept because you had to like either own additional cards to unlock the different hero powers and like the special cards and whatnot. But they did away with that. So there's no big gate to kind of be kept to get there. The hardest
you can use any card if you don't have them now.
Not in that aspect. So the way that Duels works, and Dan0 can probably speak to this more eloquently than I can, but you get to choose from 4 different heroes, and then you get to choose their hero power. You get to choose, what is it, between 3 different hero powers?
You set 3 hero powers, and then there are 6 treasures.
Treasures, yeah.
Yeah. So you start out with those, and before you would only have like 1 hero power unless you had a certain number of cards from the most recent expansion. You had to unlock all this
stuff. Yeah. So now it's just open. I see.
Exactly. So the hardest part now is just knowing what cards to put in your initially seeded deck. And if you go on to hearthstone-decks.net, there's a little duels thing along the top. You can choose whichever ones you've gotten, your choices from. You can find
that bookmarked.
Yeah, you can find what a most recent like 12-win run is. You can see, oh, that one doesn't really interest me, but this one does. This one looks cool. I want to do that fun thing. Yeah, Duels is a blast. I play a ton of casual Duels. I don't play the heroic ones. I still have a ton of those arena Duels tickets things. Because I love playing casual Duels.
Yeah. Well, and super fun fact for anybody who's still looking to get your 500 or 1,000 wins, you get those for playing casual Duels.
And your achievements, casual Duels also counts towards achievement unlocks. Whereas if you're playing, like just ranked versus like casual mode doesn't count for those. So,
but casual Duels does.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't know why they've allowed that, but they do. Shh, don't tell them.
And it's still open.
Yeah. I think the casual Duels was such a good decision for Duels. Like, it got me into heroic Duels was casual. I talk about this on Squelch all the time. If they had casual arena where I could go learn how to play arena, I'd play a lot more arena than I do. But having to pay $150 to go play arena and learn the arena meta and learn, what is good, bad, and not, terrible. I'm not going to do that. Right. But like with Duels, you have casual to go in there, cut your teeth, learn what works, what doesn't work, what you like, what you don't like. So you get to go in there and really get a feel for the game. And then when you're ready, jump in with the sharks. And it's worth it. It's a lot more fun. And it is like, they're both really, really fun. I love casual Duels. I play them both.
And I remember the excuse or reason given for arena not to have a casual mode was people are just going to concede, right? Do you feel like that happens in your casual Duels?
Duels is over so fast. So with Duels, the power level is kind of crazy. Yeah. So like if a game of Duels lasts more than 6-7 minutes, it's a long game of Duels. Like you can have longer games. There's a Regis Kilbin run out there where he has like a 6-hour priest run with Duels. I think it was priest. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was priest. And it was crazy long. And that video is worth watching. That all 6 hours was a lot of fun. It was kind of just watching him kind of descend into madness as the run went. But most of the time, like the power levels are so big and so spiky that like a lot of times the games kind of do end quickly. But with Duels, the key is don't concede. You very rarely concede because you also can do crazy things, and the amount of like times you can like get control of the board and swing it back and win, you will shock yourself at how many times you can actually do that, because the decks are kind of broken, and they're broken by design, and that's why it's a lot of fun. So, like when you first start playing duels, don't concede. Play it out. You'll be surprised at how often you find wins. So yeah.
If you
I like it.
Like me or a Timmy, and like to do the really fun, flashy, like big stuff, duels is completely for that. It's a blast.
Yeah.
And since you have that hero power and that treasure, like there's different synergies that you get in duels that you're not going to see like in regular constructed play, and it's just a different game. It really is.
Oh yeah, it is a different game. It's cool. It's like it's a Hearthstone limited almost, right? It's like not totally limited because there's a constructed portion to it. Then you get to build your deck as you go. I played some Arena for a while for a bonus episode of Squelch, and I remember after every single win or loss in Arena, I was like, "Oh, I don't get to pick new cards." That's like after every game of duels, you get offered 3 buckets of 3 cards, and so you get to add to your deck, and like you get to build on your deck and make it better or sometimes worse. And it's such a fun part of the game is seeing what, and you also get to choose new passive treasures, and it's a lot of fun. It's great. There's a lot of choice in it. There's a lot of like decisions you get to make during the run. So it's not just like building your deck and then playing the run out. You build your deck and then you continue to expand and build on your deck and iterate on the deck. And those decisions matter between like in a difference
win
like
or
a
lose
6-win run and a 12-win run is what buckets you chose. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah.
And that is why I typically have 6-win runs, because I make a lot of really terrible choices in my buckets.
I throw them on speed dial. There's more often than not, I'll screenshot a bucket and be like, so what would you do? And then I'll come back to it when he gets back to me, because I'm like, it's between these two. I'm not sure which one I should do. So yeah, I do that.
That's hilarious. Smart. I mean, when they first announced it, it blew my mind because it's Dungeon Run, but against people, right? And Dungeon Run was such a hit, right? And at least in my mind, it was. And like making it versus people was so cool. It's definitely got to be one of the most underrated modes in Hearthstone. Every time I play it, I have so much fun. I really do.
I think,
and it's not like. Yeah. It's not like it's, I know it's not flooded with people like BGs and whatnot, but I don't have queue times or anything when I'm playing it, right? Like there's people actively playing it when I play anyway. I'm not waiting on like, oh, I've got 11 wins, 2 losses. Maybe that queue time is,
that one gets long. Yeah.
Gonna be long, but I usually lose, like Sheep was saying, in the first 6. So at that point, I don't have queue times.
So Firestone puts out their data every now and again, and Firestone is kind of the duels deck tracker because Firestone actually has a leaderboard as well. So if you use the Firestone deck tracker, there is a Firestone heroic duels leaderboard. So a lot of people use Firestone deck tracker for that. I started using it because of that. And now I use it because I prefer it. They
have amazing replays, by the way. Firestone. Their replay is chef's kiss.
Yeah, and the amount of stuff they have available on like their screen for you to see, like little tooltips, is so nice. I went back to Deck Tracker for a little bit a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, where is my information? I don't want to have to think." But Firestone had duels as like the 3rd or 4th most popular mode, so it was like Battlegrounds by a lot, and then Standard. And then like duels, wild, and arena mercenaries or something like that. So duels and wild were close. But again, it's a self-selection though as well, right? So like how many people who just use that deck tracker because of duels, right? So if more people are playing it because of that, it's going to look bigger than it is. But it was a larger number than you'd expect, but I think it deserves a front page button, I feel like it deserves front page button.
Over mercenaries.
I think so. Sorry, mercenaries. You kind of busted.
I'm still playing it every day.
Bless your heart for that, by the way. I do every time I'm listening to the pod and you talk about mercenaries. I'm like, good for you.
I went in really hard whenever mercenaries started. Like I was, if not the first in NA, I was like the first to like post about it, maxing out all of my mercs.
Yeah.
I haven't played Mercs in months.
There was like one other person like on an Asia server that posted around when you did.
Yeah.
And like, so you were most likely the first or the second person like in the world that maxed out their Mercs. It was insane. And at the time Nate and I were like trying to keep up with you, but you were a machine. And then Nate continued and I was like, oh, I'm done. But at this point, I mean, now that they've made it so easy that you just get your tasks there constantly, I only have 6 left to collect out of the 115 mercs or whatever, because you get free packs constantly when you play the mode.
There are 115 of them?
Yeah.
Oh, who knew? Wow.
That
Chrome looks cool on the rewards track, by the way. I wish that were a hero portrait we could use.
Yeah.
But no, I feel bad for mercenaries. How do you fix that though? I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, it was sort of like, in my opinion, not too little, but too late. They gave a lot in the end. Like, it's 100% free to play at this point. Like, you get unlimited tasks at all times for any merc. And as soon as you get to the 16, 17, and 18th task of every merc, you get packs for each one of those, right? And you got 6 mercs in your team. So do the math. You get 6 in a team times 3 every single time you max all those out. And then you move on to the next 6. Like, you're just rolling in the packs at that point. And so you don't have to spend a dime on the mode. I'm not paid to say this. But at this point, it's gone free to play 100%. You don't have to spend a dime on it. And I feel bad because at the beginning I actually did spend money and I was buying packs in the beginning, right? Like,
they were expensive too.
Yeah, and I'm not spending my hard-earned gold that I want to use on constructed for mercs packs. Like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Is the PvP scene still active enough to play? Like, do you find matches on PvP?
I don't try to fully rank up, so I can't answer to what it's like up at the top, but it seems fine, in the lower ranks.
Playing Cthulhu Rogue, you're still able to find people. What I'm saying is you're just not getting your MMR up to where you're having matchmaking issues. Which is exactly what Dan0's strategy is with our mode. It's perfect.
How to play the game sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like to take the PvP part seriously until I have everything maxed out, to be honest. So I'm just going to focus on that for now.
And that is why I don't play anymore.
It's a weird model, right? Like,
because it's not like you got the card, you play the card.
Yeah.
You got the card, you have to spend hours upon hours making your card better.
Yeah.
Then you can play the card. Oh, wait, you need to make all the other ones better too.
And with Hearthstone, like we were just talking about, duels, battlegrounds. I've played battlegrounds way more recently than Mercs. Wild, standard, classic is still fun to dive into every now and then. Like, there's so many things kind of competing for my time, even within the Hearthstone client, that I'm like, Mercs, you just take so much time, and I feel bad about saying that I just like stopped, but I just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
I've never said a nice thing about the mode. Like, even when it first came out, I tried it and I was like, whoa, boy. I think I might have said some unnice things in the not so good section about mercenaries, about how it doesn't seem super fun.
See, at first, I really liked it because I had so much time, and it was kind of like a zen, like, just play the thing, do the thing. I had a very finite goal. And then the way that they, at first, were releasing mercs, they were releasing like 2 or 3 every like month or so. I really liked that cadence because, 2 or 3 in a month. Okay, then I get to enter my zen garden again and just kind of like rank those up. But then they changed their release cadence to basically being expansions. And it's like, okay, here are 50, I don't know if it's 50, but like a ton new mercs. First you have to get them, then you have to rank them up, then you have to, and I'm just like, nope, I'm done. I'm out. It's too much at once. 2 or 3 new, I could keep up with it. It was like maintenance thing. So many more. It's just like, I was overwhelmed.
I wonder if the people that love the solo content of Hearthstone are maybe more inclined to do it, because you don't need to play the PvP at all in the mode, right? Like they release new quote unquote adventures in Mercs all the time. Like there's a new zone, there's new bosses, you got to figure out what comp to bring and all that stuff. So maybe that's what's floating the whole thing, is the people that just love that PvE instead of PvP content. Like, you don't have to verse another person. You could play this like endlessly against the computer.
But Slay the Spire is a thing. Just saying. Like, if you're playing Mercenaries for that, like, let me introduce you to Slay the Spire.
That's true.
If you're playing Mercenaries for that, let me introduce you to the solo adventure tab in Hearthstone.
Right? Maybe they beat all those. I don't know.
The Book of Mercenaries, the Book of Heroes are both awesome too.
Mm-hmm. They are really fun.
Also, Slay the Spire, yes, is also an incredible game. Definitely don't want to take away from that.
There's a Hades 2 apparently coming out,
There is a Hades 2. I'm replaying Hades 1 right now because Hades 2 was announced. It's such a good game. Holy moly. Hades. It's on sale right now for half of Hades.
I've actually been playing Hades a little bit too at work on my lunch break because it's crappy. It's rainy and cold. And so I bring my Steam Deck to work and I've been playing Hades and people are like crowding around me watching me play Hades. Yeah, I'm not good.
You don't have to be good though. That's why it's fun. Like, it's just a great game. Like, you can play that one like and be kind of poor at it, or you can be super like super competitive and spiky about it. That game, like, Supergiant killed it. That is one of the all-time great games. It's incredible. Truly incredible. You haven't played it yet. Like, Steam has a half price off on sale right now, and it's worth your time.
Are you sponsored by it?
No, but I think I'm obligated. If I don't mention it, then I will feel bad. So, because we talk about we use in the Squelch Discord, not Squelch, we use Hades as a currency. So Hades costs $25, so one Hades is $25. So if you think about like the heroic portraits, is one Hades. So is that heroic portrait worth Hades? And so we use Hades as a form of currency.
Yeah,
so,
that's genius.
So we put everything into Hades. So I guess 1.2 Hades. Is that worth it then? If it's 1.2 Hades.
There's a conversion rate of Hearthstone to Hades going on there.
Oh my gosh. Hades was just a one-time purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really bad about how much money I've spent on Hearthstone now. Thanks, Dan.
Think about how many Hades you've spent on Hearthstone. Yeah.
A lot.
And with that overwhelming sense of dread settling in for Hydra, I think we're going to wrap up the show. So
buyer's remorse.
Remorse. So, Dan0, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you around the internet?
Twitter, pretty much. Dan0 Play. The O is a 0 because I'm cool. Follow at Squelchcast. That's our Twitter account, Squelchcast. Squelch is our podcast. Mad at Arms, Thralamun, myself, and Storm Rage. Every Monday, we stream that live over at twitch.tv/Dan0 Play. And then our Discord. You can find our Discord link on Squelchcast, the Twitter account. So, yeah, we're all those places. And, yeah, come and hang out. We're kind of nice people, I think. So
I think so.
Completely co-signed.
And Daniel
we would not
Sheldon
have reached out your way if we weren't co-signing you for sure. That was ominous, Hydra.
No, sorry. I said Daniel Sheldon. But my Alexa was like, I don't know who that is. So anyway, that's what happened there. If you saw my weird reaction, I was going to say is an excellent addition. Hell of a guy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we love him, and he's made the podcast better for sure. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, Alexa agrees also.
Thanks, Alexa.
She had to interrupt me.
Just to speak her
Alexa,
affirmation.
add potato chips to my shopping list.
Well, so thank you again for joining us, Dan. That wraps up this week's show. For more wild content or to see where you can find the rest of us individually, visit us online at borntobewildhs.com. We'll see you next time on another action-packed episode of
Born to be wild.
Yeah.
And that's a podcast.
Awesome.
Forgot to mention
That
that I
was a podcast.
stream Wild over on Saturdays and Sundays. I should have mentioned that on the Wild podcast.
Oh, wait, what? We didn't end recording, did we?
I
Sheep?
am still recording.
Haha.
Saturdays and Sunday
Definitely.
mornings.
Definitely check out those Saturday and Sunday morning Cthoons at twitch.tv/Dan0 plays.
You mean Cthulhu?
That is always a blast. I always really enjoy watching, listening if I don't catch it live.
Absorbing via osmosis.
I haven't yet gotten that with Squelch yet. I'm still working on my osmosis absorbing machine for other podcasts. Right now, it only works with Born to Be Wild. I don't know what it is.